Thank you. I'm Lockie, Matilda and Emma from Marsh. Today we're presenting two stations, Coburg and Moreland, as part of the Bells Moreland Level Crossing Removal Project. Located in Brunswick and Coburg, to the north of the city. The project involved two stations and the removal of 4 level crossings. Coburg on the left there and Moreland on the right, so approximately 2.5 kilometres of elevated rail, and the restoration of the existing old train stations that were there. So this Coburg station was the first 6-star Green Star rated train station building, and the project as a whole scored 98 out of 100 points from the Infrastructure Sustainability Council, which is the highest a project has rated. 2.5 kilometres of elevated rail, 4 level crossings, and the space beneath has enabled pedestrian and cycling paths and cross-corridor connections which were previously not available. The undercroft space is utilised for a large amount of landscape, 2 MCGs worth of landscaping, gym equipment, dog parks and playgrounds.
So both the entries to Coburg and Moreland are located underneath the elevated rail. It's quite a compressed experience, and as you step into Coburg Station, you can see you enter into a double height space, so it really opens up. We also, you can see here, have got plenty of light with the double height curved openings to both sides, sitting as a backdrop to the stairs, helping to draw users up to the platforms. Consequently, these also help to minimise our energy demands, which help towards our Green Star. These stairs are located on either side of the platform, equally loading users by dividing and turning back on themselves. These also gave dynamic double height spaces. It was a conscious decision by Marsh to express the U-truss running through the concourse. We worked with other parts of our design team to refine these profiles, both for acoustics but also as an architectural element. Coburg is a premium category station, so as such has a large concourse and a fair amount of programme to accommodate. As you can see, the programme sits and inhabits the 4 corners of the building. Another way that we were also able to minimise the footprint, which consequently helped reduce cost, is by inhabiting the space naturally formed underneath the stairs. This is where we tend to sit functional spaces like services. The concourse uses durable materials. It's one of the first stations to also start using ceramics. On Coburg facade here, you can see we worked on a strong sense of patination. So the patination is loosely inspired on the local multicultural community. We fought really hard to maintain the depth of this concrete relief because we felt it was really important. The shadowing also adds to that patination and helps animate the building throughout the day. Here you can see we're underneath the elevated rail. This is one of the spaces created, which is a skate park. We also provided for, as Lockie's always mentioned, cycle paths and other public facilities. So here you can see on the right-hand side of the screen is some of the viaduct screening for Coburg Station. The pattern comes from traditional metalwork riveting, which was something mentioned in the Heritage Register for the area, so it's really important for us to keep tying back to those elements. Finally, just to touch on colour. The project uses colour as urban markers, so that as you're meeting someone or travelling down the viaduct, you can use these as reference points. We've also used colour to transition on the screens, which helps realise where you are in the process.
So, as part of the project, the existing station buildings, which are heritage listed, were retained and they were renovated and restored as part of the project. At Coburg Station, internal spaces have been repurposed as function spaces for the council and community. And at Moreland Station, the heritage building on the right-hand side, internally has been renovated to include public bathroom facilities for station users and the public. As you can see in the foreground on the right-hand side of the image, a remnant of the old track has been retained to give an indication of what was there before. And the renovation of these buildings was really significant to the project in that it provided spaces for the local community and reused a building that was rather derelict and poorly maintained before the project. And so moving on to Moreland Station, this was a local station, so it was much smaller in footprint than Coburg. Consisted of 2 large stairs and a lift. The terracotta coloured base of the building references the immediate context of the heritage building and the surrounding neighbourhood. And the colour theme that was mentioned earlier that runs along the corridor is continued with Moreland Station, and this emphasises the identity of the corridor and also safety in that. Yeah. So there is a tension metal mesh screen on either side of the length of the stair, and this is almost draped along both sides, and this acts as a rain screen, provides ventilation and allows for views across the surrounding landscape and also towards Melbourne's city skyline. We thought we'd touch on construction methodology because this was really important in terms of the delivery of the project. So the construction, phasing and methodology of the stations was really rapid, and this needed to be considered in the architectural design. The station was constructed in halves so that the train could continue running, and then the other half of the station was constructed, and that meant that the line could be closed for a shorter period of time. And architecturally, we had to position a program that was relevant to the functioning of the train while it was still running on one half of the building, and the time frame of the there were 24/7 work sites, and so within 3 months the stations could be occupied. And so from having worked on the project, there was a sense of urgency in terms of keeping to these construction time frames. The public response to the corridor and the station buildings has been overwhelmingly positive, as we feel that the train line which divided this area has now been stitched back together. To end the presentation, there was a lovely quote from the Saturday paper written by Naomi Stead we feel really reflects the architectural outcome well. It read, "A young couple are waiting for someone at the end of their street, which formerly stopped dead at the end of the rail line, and now opens to a lively pedestrian thoroughfare. Their friend they are waiting for arrives and says, 'This is way better, there's a kind of spot here.'" And we feel like that's a really nice sentiment that reflects the station as well.